Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Forever in Memory. In this video, we'll be honoring American celebrities who have passed away today and in recent days, along with other notable figures from around the world. Before we begin, please show your support by giving this video a like. It really helps the channel. Thank you. And let's get started.
30th September 2025. Lally Weymouth passed away, a figure whose life was woven deeply into the fabric of American journalism and global politics. More than a reporter, she was a bridge between worlds, a woman who spoke truth to power while building quiet, trusted connections behind the scenes. Her interviews shaped public discourse, her insights influenced policy debates, and her relentless pursuit of understanding made her one of the most respected journalistic voices of her generation. Born Elizabeth Morris Graham on 3 July 1943 in Washington, D.C., she was destined to inhabit the world of news and influence. The daughter of Katharine Graham, the legendary publisher of The Washington Post, Lally grew up surrounded by typewriters, deadlines, and conversations that shaped history. Yet she was determined to carve her own path, not simply inherit a legacy. With a sharp intellect and natural curiosity, she built a career defined by substance, not surname. Her work as a journalist and senior associate editor for The Washington Post took her far beyond the borders of the United States. Lally became known for conducting candid, revealing interviews with presidents, prime ministers, monarchs, and revolutionary leaders. World figures who rarely spoke to the press often opened up to her, trusting her balance of rigor and respect. From the halls of power in Washington to the presidential palaces of the Middle East and Asia, her interviews offered rare glimpses into the minds of those shaping global events. But Lally's contributions extended beyond journalism. She played a vital role as a foreign affairs commentator and as a behind-the-scenes connector between political leaders, diplomats, and thinkers. Her insights helped frame international conversations at crucial moments in history. Despite the weight of her family name, she carried herself with humility and independence, building relations not on privilege, but on trust and credibility. Today, as the world of journalism bids farewell to Lally Weymouth, it also pays tribute to a woman who dedicated her life to connecting nations through conversation and clarity. She believed that words could change minds, and in many ways, they did. May her legacy continue to inspire future generations of journalists to listen deeply, question fearlessly, and seek the truth with courage and empathy. And may the echo of her voice, thoughtful, probing, compassionate, live on in the pages of history she helped to write.
29 September 2025, Myron Lowery passed away. A dedicated public servant, trusted voice, and one of the most recognizable figures in Memphis politics. For decades, he devoted his life to the people of his city, combining sharp intellect, fearless advocacy, and deep compassion for those he served. Known for his straightforward honesty and tireless work on behalf of his community, Lowery left a mark on local government that will not soon be forgotten. Born on 15 November 1946 in Memphis, Tennessee, Myron Lowery grew up with a strong sense of civic responsibility and a belief that leadership was about improving lives, not just holding titles. After earning degrees in political science and communications, he began his professional life as a journalist and television news anchor. His years in broadcasting honed his communication skills and built a deep connection with the people of Memphis, a connection that would serve as the foundation for his later career in public office. In 1991, Lowery was elected to the Memphis City Council, beginning a decades-long journey of public service. He quickly became known as a voice of reason and the champion for accountability, pushing for government transparency, ethical standards, and policies that reflected the needs of everyday citizens. His leadership style was approachable yet firm, marked by a willingness to listen and a determination to act. Perhaps one of his most memorable moments came in 2009, when he briefly served as interim mayor of Memphis. During that time, he guided the city through a crucial transition with steadiness and vision, demonstrating the same principles that defined his entire career: service over ego, people over politics. He was deeply committed to improving public safety, supporting economic development, and expanding opportunities for education and housing, always with a focus on uplifting underserved communities. Beyond the council chambers, Lowry was deeply engaged in civic life. He served on numerous boards, mentored young leaders, and remained a visible, active presence in Memphis affairs even after leaving public office. His dedication to social justice, equality, and inclusion earned him respect from colleagues and constituents alike across political and cultural lines. Myron Lowry was more than a politician. He was a bridge builder, a mentor, and a steadfast believer in the potential of his city. As Memphis mourns his passing, it also celebrates a life lived with purpose and integrity. Myron Lowry believed that leadership was about service, and through decades of tireless work, he embodied that belief every single day. May his memory continue to inspire future generations to lead with courage, compassion, and a deep commitment to the communities they call home.
The 30th of September, 2025, Sir Terry Farrell passed away, one of the most influential architects and urban planners of the modern era. A visionary whose ideas reshaped skylines, reimagined cities, and challenged the way we think about the spaces we inhabit. His work was not just about buildings, it was about creating environments where people could live, move, and dream. Across Britain and beyond, his projects became landmarks, and his philosophy transformed the very language of contemporary urban design. Born on 12 May 1938 in Sale, Cheshire, England, Terry Farrell grew up fascinated by the shapes and structures of the world around him. As a child, he spent hours sketching buildings, inventing imaginary cities, and exploring the balance between functionality and beauty. That passion led him to study architecture at Newcastle University and later at the University of Pennsylvania, where he absorbed ideas that would fuel his lifelong mission: to blend art, culture, and practicality in every space he touched. Farrell's career began in the 1960s, but it was in the following decades that he became one of the defining voices of British postmodernism. As a founding figure of Farrell's, his firm gained international recognition for its bold, playful, and human-centered approach to design. He believed architecture should tell stories, not just stand as monuments, and he infused his projects with symbolism, history, and a deep respect for their surroundings. Among his most iconic works are the MI6 building in London, with its striking, fortress-like presence on the Thames, the Charing Cross station redevelopment, which merged Victorian heritage with contemporary form, and Beijing South Railway Station, a vast, flowing structure that became a gateway to the future of Chinese transport. Beyond these landmarks, Farrell's influence stretched into city planning itself. He advocated for walkable urban environments, sustainable growth, and a design philosophy rooted in the needs of people, not just vehicles or corporations. Behind the accolades and the global reputation, Terry Farrell was deeply human. Colleagues remembered him as endlessly curious, with a childlike excitement for every new project. He was a mentor to countless young architects, always encouraging them to challenge convention and to see buildings as living, breathing parts of society. Today, as we look upon the skylines he helped shape, his absence is deeply felt. Yet in every train station buzzing with life, in every city quarter revived by thoughtful planning, and in every building that tells a story instead of just occupying space, his spirit endures. Sir Terry Farrell believed that architecture was not about concrete and steel. It was about people, memory, and possibility. And as the sun sets on a life that changed the face of modern cities, the streets, bridges, and spaces he imagined continue to speak his language, one of creativity, humanity, and timeless vision.
25 September 2025. Alfie MacLeod passed away, a devoted public servant, respected legislator, and proud son of Nova Scotia, whose voice echoed in the halls of Canadian politics for decades. Known for his warmth, humor, and unwavering commitment to his community, he was more than a politician. He was a bridge between people and government, a man who believed deeply in the power of service, and a steady advocate for those whose voices were too often unheard. Born on January 26, 1956, in Gabarus Lake, Nova Scotia, Canada, Alfie grew up surrounded by the rugged beauty and close-knit spirit of Cape Breton Island. It was there, in the small towns and fishing villages, that he learned the values that would guide his life: honesty, perseverance, and the belief that leadership is about listening as much as speaking. Before stepping into public life, he worked in broadcasting, where his natural charisma and gift for connecting with people earned him trust and admiration, qualities that would later define his political career. MacLeod first entered politics in the 1990s, embarking on a journey that would span more than 20 decades. As a member of the Legislative Assembly of Nova Scotia, he became known for his tireless dedication to his constituents and his deep understanding of their struggles and dreams. He fought for better infrastructure, education, and healthcare, but he also focused on the everyday issues, the small but vital concerns that shaped people's lives. What set Alfie apart was not just his legislative record, but the way he carried himself. He had a gift for turning political debates into conversations, and for reminding others that behind every policy was a human story. He never lost touch with the people he served, often attending community events, listening patiently to concerns at local gatherings, and lending a hand wherever it was needed. His office door was always open, and his compassion knew no political boundaries. Outside of politics, Alfie was a devoted family man and a loyal friend. He cherished the quiet moments spent with loved ones, the laughter shared over meals, and the peace of the Cape Breton coastline that had shaped him since childhood. He was proud of his roots and never forgot where he came from, a quality that made him relatable to people from all walks of life. Today, as Nova Scotia mourns the loss of one of its most steadfast champions, Alfie MacLeod's legacy lives on in the policies he shaped, the communities he strengthened, and the countless lives he touched. His name will be remembered not for titles or positions,
but for the kindness, humor, and dedication he brought to everything he did. He believed that politics was not about power, it was about people. And though his voice is now silent, the echoes of his service will continue to guide the province he loved for generations to come.
30 September 2025, José Araquistan passed away, a name that will forever echo in the history of Spanish football. Celebrated as one of the most talented goalkeepers of his generation, Araquistan's story was not just about the saves he made on the pitch, but about the courage, discipline, and quiet strength with which he lived his life. For those who grew up watching him between the posts, he was more than an athlete. He was a symbol of determination and pride, a man whose gloves protected not just a goal, but the dreams of millions of fans. Born on March 4, 1937, in Azkoitia, in Spain's Basque country, José was raised in a land where football was more than a sport. It was a way of life. From the dusty fields of his childhood to the roaring stadiums of Europe, his journey was defined by perseverance. He started his career with Real Sociedad, where his extraordinary reflexes, commanding presence, and tactical intelligence quickly set him apart from his peers. His performances caught the attention of Real Madrid, and with that call, his life changed forever. Joining the legendary club in the early 1960s, Araquistan stepped into one of the most competitive arenas in world football. The pressure was immense, the expectations even greater. Yet he thrived. With Madrid, he achieved the dream of every player, winning the European Cup in 1966 and multiple La Liga titles. Match after match, he stood like a wall before the net, fearless against the fiercest strikers, earning the respect of teammates and rivals alike. But his path was not without hardship. Injuries, competition for the starting spot, and the intense scrutiny of fans and media tested his resilience time and again. There were seasons when he was benched, moments when critics doubted him, and nights when the weight of expectation felt unbearable. And yet, José never lost his spirit. He trained harder, fought longer, and proved over and over again that greatness is not measured by the number of trophies, but by the strength to rise after every fall. Off the field, Araquistan was known for his humility and sense of loyalty. He carried himself with quiet dignity, rarely seeking the spotlight despite the glory surrounding him. He remained deeply connected to his Basque roots and often spoke of the simple joys that mattered most: family, community, and the love of the game that had shaped his life. Those who knew him personally remember a man who was as gracious as he was determined, as kind as he was competitive. Today, as Spain and the footballing world bid farewell to one of their greats, José Araquistan's legacy endures. His name will forever be linked to a golden era of Real Madrid, to the unforgettable nights under the floodlights, and to the countless young goalkeepers who grew up dreaming of following in his footsteps. He once said that the goalkeeper's job was to carry the weight of hope, and that is exactly what he did every time he stepped onto the field. Now, as the stadium lights dim and the final whistle blows on a remarkable life, the echo of the crowd still lingers, whispering a single word: Gracias.
The 29th September 2025, Adriana Eisenberg passed away, a name that for decades was spoken with admiration and warmth in the world of Argentine cinema and theater. Known for her subtle artistry, emotional depth, and extraordinary ability to bring complex characters to life, she became one of the most respected actresses of her generation. To audiences, she was more than a performer. She was a storyteller, a mirror reflecting the struggles, hopes, and contradictions of ordinary people through extraordinary performances. Born in Buenos Aires in 1938, Adriana grew up in a city where art was everywhere, in the bustling cafes, in the passionate debates of the streets, and in the vibrant theaters that defined the cultural heartbeat of Argentina. From a young age, she felt drawn to the stage, fascinated by the power of storytelling to move hearts and change minds. It was this passion that led her to pursue acting, a path that would soon become her life's purpose. Her early career was marked by small but memorable roles that showcased her undeniable talent. Directors quickly noticed her rare gift, the ability to express a universe of emotion with the smallest gesture, a glance, or a pause. She became known for her nuanced portrayals of everyday women, characters layered with vulnerability, strength, and authenticity. Each role she played felt deeply human, resonating with audiences who saw their own lives reflected on screen. As the years passed, Eisenberg's filmography grew richer and more diverse. She worked with some of the most acclaimed filmmakers in Argentine cinema, appearing in films that became milestones of the country's cultural history. Whether portraying a mother carrying the weight of family secrets, a woman facing societal pressures, or a soul searching for redemption, she imbued every character with sincerity and depth. Her performances were not just watched, they were felt. But Adriana's influence extended far beyond the screen. She was a beloved figure in the theater world, where she continued to challenge herself with demanding roles and complex scripts. Fellow actors often spoke of her generosity, her meticulous dedication to her craft, and her quiet wisdom that inspired those around her. Offstage, she remained humble and deeply committed to the artistic community, mentoring young talents and championing Argentine culture. Her journey was not without obstacles. Like many artists, she faced periods of uncertainty and times when roles were scarce. Yet even in those moments, she never lost faith in the transformative power of art. Acting, she once said, is not about pretending, it's about revealing what is most real. Those words became a reflection of her entire career, one built on truth, vulnerability, and an unwavering devotion to storytelling. Today, as the curtains fall on a remarkable life, Adriana Eisenberg's legacy lives on in the countless hearts she touched. Her presence will forever linger in the dim light of the theater, in the silent moments before the camera rolls, and in the stories that continue to inspire future generations of actors and filmmakers. She leaves behind more than a body of work. She leaves behind a testament to the beauty and power of human emotion. And though the stage is now empty and the screen has gone dark, her voice, her spirit, and her art will continue to echo. For those who watched her perform, Adriana Eisenberg was not just an actress. She was a reminder of what it means to feel deeply, to live passionately, and to leave a mark on the soul of a nation.
He was never meant to be a Hollywood legend, at least not in the traditional sense. When Bruce Willis first stepped onto a stage in a small New Jersey theater, he wasn't thinking about fame, red carpets, or blockbuster franchises. He was a young man with a stubborn dream, a rough-edged charm, and a belief that storytelling could change the way people felt about the world. And yet,
From those humble beginnings, he would go on to become one of the most iconic actors of his generation, a face synonymous with action cinema, yet capable of deep vulnerability and unforgettable humanity. Born on March 19, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, to an American soldier father and a German mother, Bruce spent his early childhood in Europe before the family moved back to the United States, settling in New Jersey. Life there was ordinary and often challenging. Willis was not the kid destined for Hollywood. He struggled in school, battled a severe stutter, and often felt invisible in a world that rewarded perfection. But there was something quietly unbreakable in him, a resilience that would one day define his entire career. It was in high school drama class that everything changed. When Bruce stepped onto the stage for the first time, something remarkable happened. His stutter disappeared. The boy who struggled to speak found his voice in front of an audience. Acting wasn't just a passion, it was liberation. That moment became a turning point, setting him on a path he could never have predicted. After high school, he pursued drama in college, took odd jobs to survive, and worked tirelessly in local theater productions, each performance sharpening his craft and strengthening his resolve. But the road to success was anything but smooth. In New York City, where he moved to chase his dream, rejection became a constant companion. Casting agents dismissed him for his unconventional look. Directors told him he wasn't leading man material. Yet Bruce refused to quit. He took whatever roles he could find, bartending by night, auditioning by day, slowly building a reputation as a versatile and magnetic performer. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, came the break that would change everything. In 1985, he landed the role of David Addison in the television series Moonlighting. The show was a sensation, and so was he. A fast-talking, unpredictable, effortlessly charismatic private detective who redefined what a leading man could be. Audiences loved him, critics praised him, and Hollywood took notice. In a world that had grown tired of polished, perfect heroes, Bruce Willis was raw, real, and impossible to ignore. What followed was a career that would reshape the landscape of action cinema. But beneath the explosions and one-liners, there remained a man who never forgot where he came from. A kid from New Jersey who had once been told he'd never make it. That defiant spirit, that refusal to bow to doubt, became the heartbeat of his story, and the reason millions would one day call him a legend. This was only the beginning of Bruce Willis's journey, a journey that would soon take him from television star to one of the biggest names in Hollywood, and from a struggling dreamer to a symbol of resilience, reinvention, and enduring strength.
By the late 1980s, Bruce Willis was no longer just a promising actor, he was a phenomenon. The defining moment of his ascent came in 1988, when he stepped into the role that would forever change not only his career, but the entire action genre, John McClane in Die Hard. At first, few believed a TV star known for wisecracks and comedic timing could carry an explosive big-budget thriller, but Willis proved them wrong. He delivered not a flawless superhero, but a bruised, bleeding, deeply human everyman. A cop caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, relying on grit, wit, and sheer will to survive. The film became an instant classic, and McClane became a symbol of a new kind of action hero, vulnerable, relatable, and unforgettable. With Die Hard, Bruce didn't just become a movie star, he redefined what a movie star could be. His mix of toughness and humor, vulnerability and swagger made him unlike anyone else on screen. Sequels followed, each cementing his place as one of Hollywood's most bankable actors. But Bruce never allowed himself to be confined to a single genre. He was determined to prove he was more than explosions and catchphrases. In the 90s and early 2000s, he embraced a remarkable variety of roles that showcased the depth of his talent. In Pulp Fiction, he transformed into Butch Coolidge, a weary boxer trapped in a violent underworld, delivering one of the film's most haunting performances. In The Sixth Sense, he portrayed a tormented psychologist, grounding a supernatural story with raw emotion and restraint. In 12 Monkeys, he dived into psychological science fiction. And in The Fifth Element, he brought humor and humanity to a visually dazzling, futuristic epic. These films proved that Bruce Willis was not just an action star, he was a storyteller capable of exploring complex characters and emotions. But behind the fame and fortune, there was always something deeply grounded about him. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Bruce never seemed consumed by Hollywood's illusions. He approached fame with a wry smile and an easy laugh, often poking fun at himself and refusing to take stardom too seriously. Colleagues spoke of his discipline, his professionalism, and his generosity on set. He valued authenticity, both in his work and in his life, and that authenticity became part of his appeal. Of course, his journey wasn't without setbacks. Not every film succeeded, and not every risk paid off. There were box office disappointments and critical failures. Yet even when the spotlight dimmed, Bruce kept moving forward. He was never defined by a single moment, a single genre, or a single decade. He kept reinventing himself, returning to action when audiences craved it, exploring new creative challenges when he felt inspired. By the time the 21st century rolled around, Bruce Willis was no longer just a star. He was an institution. Generations had grown up watching him crawl through air ducts, deliver razor-sharp dialogue, or silently break a viewer's heart with a single look. He had become part of the fabric of cinema itself, an actor whose presence alone could command a screen and elevate a story. Through triumphs and failures, risks and rewards, Bruce's journey was a masterclass in longevity and resilience, a reminder that greatness isn't about avoiding failure, but about enduring, adapting, and continuing to create. And that is exactly what he did. Over and over.
By the time Bruce Willis entered the later chapters of his career, he had already secured a place in the pantheon of modern cinema. Few actors in Hollywood history had managed to balance raw charisma, vulnerability, and timeless appeal the way he did. But even as the blockbuster era that had made him a global icon began to evolve, Bruce continued to find new ways to connect with audiences, not through spectacle alone, but through authenticity, humanity, and presence. He returned again and again to the Die Hard series, each installment a testament to the enduring power of John McClane, a character who had started as an ordinary cop and had become a cinematic archetype. Yet beyond the action franchises, Bruce found success in more intimate, character-driven projects. Films like Unbreakable and Looper proved that he could anchor stories that were cerebral, emotional, and complex. He was equally compelling in dramatic roles, where the explosions were replaced by quiet tension, and the battles were fought within the soul. His presence on screen became something more than entertainment. For audiences, Bruce represented resilience, the belief that even in the face of overwhelming odds, an ordinary person could rise to the occasion. It was a quality that transcended film genres and made him relatable to millions. Whether he was saving hostages, grappling with trauma,
or simply trying to hold his life together. His characters embodied a kind of flawed heroism that felt deeply human. But beyond the cameras and the scripts, Bruce Willis's life was also defined by a profound sense of groundedness.